So it's that time of year again where me, Brae, and Logan go on a trip somewhere out west, somewhere away from the cornfields, the grain bins, and the overall flatness of the Midwest. And this year we decided to go to Glacier, and a quick word on gear. I did not want to be fiddling around too much with my 4x5 camera because we were only going to be in Glacier for 2 days, and I wanted something a little bit quicker and something that was not going to take a long time to set up. I still brought my 4x5 and some color film, but I saved that for those spectacular shots that I just wanted to capture on the biggest negative possible. But for the majority of the work that you're going to see in here, it was shot on a GFX 50S2 with a 35 to 70 millimeter lens.
Pay for that bar tab, honey.
Not paying him. Larry's toxic. Come on, show me something.
I like that spin.
So our trip started in Bozeman on Sunday. We wanted to stay there a couple days before we made the 5-hour trek up north to Glacier Park. And like any good trip, it started in a bar, catching up and having some drinks. The next day, we decided to head down to Yosemite National Park to catch a geyser or two and see Old Faithful. And honestly, I think we just scratched the surface on Yosemite, and you would have to spend multiple days there in order to get everything that it offers. But from our short time there, it was very beautiful. We had a good day of weather, and it was a nice day of just walking around and taking some photos. Bozeman treated us well, but the next day we had to make the 5-hour drive up to Columbia Falls where our house was. And we stopped a lot along the way, and we also decided to go to a bison range because apparently there are 300 bison at this place. And the pictures online were amazing. The reviews, a guy said there was an ass load of bison, so we wanted to see some wildlife. We paid the $20 to enter the park, and we proceeded to drive around for an hour and see exactly one bison. Here's my shitty picture of it. So that was a bust, but it was kind of fun to just drive around and be on the lookout for wildlife of all sorts. And we turned it into a fun game of who could spot the coolest animal, and everyone lost. Wednesday, we finally made it out to Glacier, and this day was more of a just drive around and see what we could find. We were a little worried that the clouds were going to stick around until sunset, but by the grace of the photo gods, we were met with one of the most beautiful sunsets I've ever seen, and it lasted well into the 9 o'clock hour before we left the park. Of course, with 3 photographers going on the exact same route, stopping at the same locations, we're all going to see the exact same stuff. And we're probably going to be photographing the exact same thing. But the beauty of photography and the way that everyone else works, the different cameras, the way they edit, you get a lot of different looking photos. And everyone always likes to talk about not taking the cliche shot and not taking the shot that everyone else takes at a popular place. But there's a reason why those shots are so popular. It's a beautiful landscape. You'd be stupid not to take the photograph. So I beg you, when you go to a cool place that you've never been before, take the cliche shot, take the shot that everyone else takes. You're going to put your own spin on it. The light's going to be different. You're going to edit it in a different way, and you're going to photograph what you see and not what someone else sees.
Highway rolling, closing in, turns over in color to tell the time again. The wheels that Brae spin, there and birds and beasts within, take one from the other to live a life again, the way it's always been. A body standing at the shore, a mind not reeling anymore. No. Or lovers knocking at your door to say, you know, they've always loved you.
We were a little worried about the clouds not lifting by sunset, but by the grace of the photo gods, they did, and we were met with one of the most beautiful sunsets I've ever seen. We were out there for quite a while in the cold until around 9 p.m. when the sun set, and then we made our way back to our house, had some Domino's because that's the only thing that was open, and got to bed because we had a 4:30 wake-up call for our hike at Glacier.
Now you go film the real photographer over there. Using a real camera. trespassing is sick. Is this a Velvia morning right now?
It's kind of looking like it. I don't even know what the fuck Velvia is.
This is kind of your last
The way you
chance.
guys talk about it, it seems like it might be.
Is it
Either
though?
now or when. If not now, when.
It's
Wow.
it's pumping though.
This is crazy. Do it. Who cares?
Holy shit.
Or honestly, gold.
Gold could be sick. I'm a pussy, I can't do it. Starting it off with Old Faithful here.
Waking up is extremely hard, but you always have to tell yourself that the early bird gets the worm. Robert Adams said, "One does not for long wrestle a view camera in the wind and heat and cold just to illustrate a philosophy. The thing that keeps you scrambling over the rocks, risking snakes, and swatting at the flies is the view. It is only your enjoyment of and commitment to what you see, not to what you rationally understand, that balances the otherwise absurd investment of labor." And I'm not saying that I was risking snakes or traversing Everest or anything like that. I was simply just waking up early. But when you get past that initial hump of not wanting to wake up, maybe getting up when someone else doesn't, trespassing a little bit, going off the beaten path in some way, shape, or form, that's how you get the work that no one else gets. And I know there's 5 billion photographs taken every day, and it's hard to stand out, but if you can get past those little humps every once in a while, do something a little different, then you might start to make work that stands out. These trips always seem to reset me in the best way possible when it comes to my photography, as well as my life. Emma and I were talking on the way back to the airport from Glacier. We had a 5-hour drive, and the first 30 minutes was just talking about how cool the trip was and how amazing it is to have passionate friends. And last year, in the U-Ray video, I quoted George Bailey, and this time I'm going to end with a quote from Robert Adams again. And he said, "Your own photography is never enough. Every photographer who has lasted has depended on other people's pictures too. Photographs that may be public or private, serious or funny, but that carry with them a reminder of community." the closest that we were going to be. The next day, we decided to go out to Yosemite, and the next day we decided to go out to Yosemite. The next